there's also a lot of playfulness, for example, that can come from that early stage of development, being in the moment, playing, kind of the instinctual, non-intellectual kind of being here, being now. That's kind of our core, I mean, the child, watching children, they might say, this is mine, and no, hada illi, no sharing, and that's kind of like that part that needs to grow, but their curiosity and their presence and their total commitment to what is right now.
Yeah, we need it. It's necessary.
That's amazing. And who doesn't want that? We're talking about being present in hudur. That is it, So it's like, how can we maintain the gift of each station? Because it is maqam.
Yeah, and that's really important what you just mentioned there, because I do this little test of, I don't know if I mentioned this, of my friend. He had a child that was 1 or 2, and then another child that was around 5, and I threw the keys on the floor and I said, pick them up. And the little 1-year-old, he went into a full squat and picked them up, and then the 5-year-old bent over.
Yeah.
And I said, which one's got correct posture? And it was the 1-year-old. So we want to keep that. I said, look how quickly we lose the fitrah.
Exactly.
And we need to, so we don't want to transcend that, and we need to include that aspect of us. Like, there's some fundamentals of our nafs that we need in order to play the game. Totally. And we lose a sense of that. And so sometimes we have to go back. This is really important, that we have to go back to bring that, to where we're at.
And same with lawama, I would argue. Healthy shame does have a place. Healthy shame has a place, and if there's something that I'm doing wrong, I should feel like I'm doing wrong, and someone should be able to give me nasiha and tap into my lawama energy that's accountable and corrective, and I can develop that, whatever, or do what I have to do to restore balance again. It's like all these things should be active, and I just had this image. Not to say I'm a big advocate of this, model, but like the different chakras, it's like the energy chakra at the root of the spine, and then the belly and the heart level and the throat and whatever. Yeah. It's like when they talk about moving from center to center, they don't turn off the other centers.
Yeah.
Everything's online. They just like, it's like that game you hit at the carnival, and then all the lights light up. You want as many lights to light up as possible.
And you can always revisit the earlier ones and refine them even deeper and get a deeper understanding of them. So, for example, even in Arabic, as an Arabic teacher, we can go back to the fundamentals and revisit them. And then you realize, I'm doing that even as a teacher of Arabic, and I've been studying for 22 years, is that I get a greater way of refining my understanding of these concepts and new insights into them. So we want to revisit even the most primal parts of us, because as we do revisit them, we get a more refined understanding of them.
I remember hearing one of our teachers, Dr. Omar Farouk Abdullah, here in Chicago, one time say that studying Nahu for him is intoxicating. And this is someone who's studied for decades, and mashallah, he's a great sheikh and learned scholar and academic, everything. And he says, learning Nahu, the Ajurumiyya, for him is intoxicating, just because this is the bare bones essentials for it. This whole path, this whole trajectory, this whole journey for him was this book, was this initial starting point. And so going back to it now for him is just, and he talked about gaining more insight and constantly unfolding more meanings. And this is the way of the great people. Yeah. It's like always going back to the beginning. And it's that idea of the spiral, like always coming back to the beginning, but you're rising, but you're coming back again to something from a higher perspective or a more developed, more matured consciousness.
And as you go higher, sometimes you need to go back down to sort of keep everything in balance. And so, it's like, I'm back to square one, like the snakes and ladders, I've got to start all over. No, you're never doing that. Like this happened for me, like for 4 or 5 months out of BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because of, the situation. And it's like, it does feel like the first 2-3 weeks that you're back to square one, but you quickly get back into the sort of groove. And so never the same. I always say this in couples therapy, when they go back into old patterns. No, you're never back where you started, because now you've got tools that you didn't have when you're back there. So now you know how to come out of the old patterns and get back into the groove. You can never go back to where you started. It's not possible.
Indeed, exactly. Yeah, mashallah. Exactly.